Alright, so heads up, this video is a little bit on the long side, but there's a reason for that, and it's because I go into lots of testing. I give lots of information about what this device is good for, what it's not good for, as well as how it compares to many other products I've tested as well. So I'm going to go through that and I give those honest reviews. You know, I am not one of those flashy YouTubers that just tells you marketing spill and sends you on your way. I do have referral links down in the description below. It gives you a discount and it does give me a small kickback, but I don't want people to go and click on those if the product's not good for them. So that's where the video, I try to cover all aspects of the product as well as the service that is provided. Hey everyone, this is Nate and this is the Nader Tater channel. Alright, this is a cool little backpack here and it has everything I need from power to a cellular connection to have Wi-Fi on the go for up to a week. So I'll go through the details there, but this is from a company called Nomad Internet, and they reached out to me with this because I cover a lot of 5G cellular stuff on my channel. Be sure to check it out with T-Mobile, Verizon, or other ones that are out there. And this company here really tries to specialize or focus on people that are either traveling for work or for pleasure, camping, hiking, that kind of stuff, or perhaps even stationary. They do cover some of that stuff for business, enterprise, or farming and whatnot. So I'll go through, I haven't used them before, so we'll go through a quick setup. It's supposed to be like a 5-minute setup to do with this, and then I'll talk about what their features are, like what their kind of selling points are, and then we'll talk about what plans and hardware that they can offer you, and then we'll compare that to what else is out there so everyone kind of gets a level playing field as far as, you know, what might work for you the best. So to start with, this backpack is just one of their options. You know, they have 4 different 5G cellular gateways, which means like it's a modem and a Wi-Fi router built into one. And this one is their most mobile. So this is a Nomad Air, as they call it. It's a Inseego FX 2000 is the actual unit itself. And then this kit also comes with a few other things I'll open up here and show you. Now the book bag kit is about $200 to buy. That does not include the modem that's inside of it. But you know what's neat about it is that you see this little power cord or power button that sticks out. You press that once and that turns on the unit. That's all you have to do actually. So when you're on the go, you can just press that little button and then it powers it on. You don't have to open this up at all. The Wi-Fi just comes out of the unit. But if we open it up here, you'll see what you know this packaged in here, and this is the main cellular router or gateway. And you can see they put their stickers on it, but it's also, you know, very clearly labeled that it's a Inseego FX 2000, as I mentioned before. And then right here, you know, there's a little tiny SIM card. Was a nano size SIM card. If I pop that out, you'll see it has a Verizon logo on it. So this is a Verizon service, and I think that's you know, that'd be what they would send to everyone there. I don't know the exact details of what that Verizon plan is or what it has, but you know, Nomad basically resells that service to you guys, and they have a couple different plans. I'll go through those in a minute here. But so this is the Nomad Air, and this is all you need for picking up the signal and then sending out Wi-Fi. It does have a single LAN port on the back. It has USB and power ports. And then behind these little covers, these are actually TS9 external antenna ports. But don't get too excited about those because people that know this Inseego FX 2000 know that, especially in the US, those external antenna ports are really almost unhelpful because they only support a couple bands of signal that are out there, and none of them are really good bands or available bands in the US. So it doesn't really have the capability to add external antennas, in case you're wondering. That's not what it's designed for, nor is it what Nomad Air is trying to sell this as. This is designed to be a portable package. You keep this in there and then you're on the go. So the go part of it is this big big battery pack. So this is, I believe it's 60,000 milliamp hours. If I'm, yeah, 60,000 milliamp hours. So that's a fairly sizable battery pack, and that's what they're saying, that this guy can keep you going for a week strong with you know, having this power only that guy. But it has USB ports here that you can power your cell phone or other USB power devices as well. So
a big hefty unit here. It has a little display here. If I press the button, you can see mine's at 84% charged right now. So in here is the cable, the power cable that has the little button that I said before, and then it also has the connection that would then go into the Inseego itself directly. But also, if you want a regular outlet, that is further included in here. We have just a regular USB-C adapter to a wall outlet to charge this guy, or a charger, or not I guess a charger, but an actual adapter plug to provide constant power to the Inseego itself directly. And then what else they have in here? They have some business cards that you can give to share to your friends for $25 off Nomad service. It looks like I got the SIM card here from Verizon, and then we have a quick start guide that's in here, and this is just to start the Inseego. So this is what I do need to follow. I have not set this up yet, so we'll use my tablet real fast and do a setup and just see how it does. But so let's go in here and look at some of their items. So if I go here to shop and I go to their equipment here, you can see that they really have 4 different units. They have the Cube, which is basically a white cube shape. That's what like Straight Talk Wireless and Verizon Home Internet use, that same or very similar cube. Nomad Air is what this one is. And again, these are names that Nomad has, but they're commercially available units out there. But just to give you a reference point, I was looking at the prices and seeing that, to buy this Inseego FX 2000 new, you're going to be spending like $600 or $700 for here. They sell it with the plan for like $299. So certainly it is discounted versus just going out and buying the unit itself. I wanted to make sure that you couldn't just go buy this Inseego and it's cheaper, and the only difference is that you get stickers on it. With this one, that's not the case. It is actually a better deal to buy it through Nomad. But they also have the Raptor, which is still portable, but not as portable as this little guy. Then they have the Arc, which is really designed for an outdoor installation, like outside on a roof, and it's stationary. So that's their big power unit if you're trying to do something that's stationary. But again, the other ones are more mobile, and the Air is the most mobile that's available. Alright, so let's look at their plan offerings. There's 3 main plans: residential, travel, and business. For the residential, they claim it's all unthrottled and it's unlimited data for all of these plans actually. But there are some differences here that you'll see. And so with the residential, they claim up to 100 megabits per second for download speed, and it uses 4G and 5G. No credit check. I said no limit on data before, and then it also has a 30-day no risk trial that if it doesn't work out to your liking, in fact, if you even get one of their gateways and you don't like them, they will switch out with another gateway for you that maybe works better. But that's $109 a month. You go up to the travel. It looks like the main difference with the travel one is that it has a pause plan, the ability basically to pause your plan. Let's say you camp, but you only do it during the summer months, or you only do it during the winter months or whatnot. You can pause your plan and not be paying that monthly fee. At least that's my assumption. It looks like it's maybe not fully out yet, but that's a higher monthly cost, but perhaps cheaper annually if you were able to pause it for several months. And then the Nomad Business, looks like the big thing here is that it is double the speed of the other plan, so up to 200 megabits per second. I'm going to go check my speed here with this guy upstairs where I get better signal. I'm in the basement, so it's probably not a fair test down here. But that one's $199 a month. So those are expensive numbers. I would say it's not expensive compared to what you're used to with the hotspot stuff. But the advent of these 5G home internet devices between T-Mobile, Straight Talk, Metro, Verizon, those ones are often at this $50 a month price point for unlimited data, and they offer really good speeds. There is no cap on some of them. T-Mobile doesn't really have a cap, but you have to get really good signal to get faster. Verizon has a cap around 300 megabits per second for their 5G stuff. I think their 4G is around 80 to 100, so maybe similar to this. And then I think Straight Talk is capped as well from a speed standpoint slightly, but those price points are lower, and so that's what I'm interested to see is just what are you getting for this extra monthly cost. All right, so now we have it plugged in. I will just go ahead and press this button here, and we'll get power to it. And then this guy should be kicking off. I think it has an LED light right up here. There we go. It just kicked on. It's red, so that means it's booting up for the first time here. And on the bottom of the unit, it has the Wi-Fi name and the Wi-Fi password that I might need to log into the unit, as well as the website address to connect to this guy's 192.168.1.1, and it has an admin password that you would type in to log in. So we'll give this thing a minute here. There we go. Now it's green, so technically I should have internet. Now I'm down here in my basement. Let me just see if I'm connected right now. Alright, so it says I am connected. So let me go here to my web browser and I will type in that address. And it's a very common address, but you can see that I am now connected. Now it says there's a software update, so I will go ahead and use that. Their plans, I think, have unlimited data actually, so you should be able to get unlimited data with this device, and that's just the fact that this is like basically a trial for me to set up here. So let's go ahead and do this install now. So I have the software update, so I get the latest and greatest that's out there. Alright, so now my software has been updated and it is ready to go. It shows me here that I have that Verizon 5G SIM in there, and that SIM card 1. SIM card 2 has no SIM in it, and that is as I would expect it to be. Alright, so take any of these stats with a grain of salt, because again, I'm in my basement. I have bad cell service down here. I have a booster actually on it, but I won't get into the details of the booster and the challenges there. But we'll just go through here and see what all this guy has in there for settings itself. Alright, so you have to log in with the admin password. That's on the bottom of the unit, or if you changed it, obviously it would be whatever you changed it to. But here you can tell it if you want to allow devices to connect to your unit, and the default limit is 30 devices. So it can technically support more than 30 devices, but it's probably fairly limited from a hardware standpoint of trying to balance if there's really 30 high data user people connected to it at once. It might struggle with keeping up with that. So if you really need something where it handles a lot more users, you should either consider plugging in your own router to that Ethernet cable, or get one of the other gateways from Nomad. And then here you can add 2.4 or 5 gigahertz channels out there. You can have a guest network, and you can also change the mode. So most people don't have to mess with this, but let's say if you had something where it wasn't working well, or you needed to split the 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz signals for some of your older devices that want just a 2.4, you can go in here and change some of that, or change your channels, or change the bandwidth, because the default here on the 5 gigahertz is 80 megahertz, but some devices don't support that, so you might need to do a 40 or 20 megahertz bandwidth in order for them to actually pick it up and work. So those are some minor settings there that you can do. Let's go in here and see what else we have for the primary network. This is where you can change your name, which would be helpful. And then again, you can also change the security settings there. It looks like it allows you to turn it off as well if you don't even want to have a password. So that's some of the settings there. This Wi-Fi privacy separation, that's something that you can keep everything kind of isolated so that your devices don't talk to each other. For a business, that might be useful, because you don't want your customers necessarily to be able to connect to each other either accidentally or on purpose. And then for the guest network here, let's see what it gives you. Same thing, just options to have guest network, and then settings for, and it looks like for the guest by default it does have the privacy separation, which is probably a good feature. Connected devices, you can see that I'm connected here with my tablet. and it just tells me that I'm on the primary network versus like a guest network or whatnot. But I could actually block this device if I wanted to, or if someone was on your Wi-Fi that you did not want to be, you could block them. All right, so now the main settings here, we can go to the Preferences tab and just see you can change the name of your unit. You can have Ethernet enabled or disabled, the reboot enabled or disabled, and then you have your different settings for your units. Software update, we don't need to do. Backup and restore, we don't need to do. Let's see what this ZTP is. So this would be if you had an Edge Manager, you could enroll this device in that. If you don't know what that is, you don't have to worry about it. SIM card, this is where you can get your data for your SIM and make sure to see if it's connected and if it's working, as well as what carrier it is on, as well as the APN and whatnot. Alright, so let's see what the VPN settings that it has. So this one it looks like it supports OpenVPN, and you could go in here and upload your OpenVPN configuration file and put in the username and password for it and connect. So that's what it supports for VPN. And let's see about this built-in GPS. I'm assuming this is a fairly simple, maybe on and off. Alright, so yes, this is just basically on and off, and then you can determine if it turns on when the device restarts, but fairly simple if you want to use the GPS inside of it or not. Alright, if we go to the advanced, we can get some more settings here. We can get to cellular settings. Alright, so in the cellular section here, you can obviously have the cellular turn on and off, but then you can also change if you want it to force it onto 4G LTE or force it on 5G. That's an option there. Sometimes it's helpful to do that depending on your network. If either 5G acts up a lot or 4G acts up a lot, you might want to switch it. Same thing for the network mode. SA means standalone, NSA is non-standalone. Non-standalone is by far the most common. That's what you would expect to see out there. But standalone is starting to get more and more common. So in the coming months or years, you might actually want to test out the standalone to see if that gives you a better connection or speed on your device. I want to touch also on the firewall here. This is where it can do the VPN pass-through and IPv6, as well as DMZ. So DMZ will be really helpful if you have your own personal router that you have hooked up to this via like the Ethernet cable. And what you would do there is you would have your personal router have like a static IP address, call it 192.168.1.2, and then you would type in that in the destination IP address for the DMZ, and that would basically not filter any of the traffic that comes into this Nomad Air, and it would send it all to your router, and then your router's firewall and settings there would take over for how that data travels next. Alright, here's another important thing that people ask through is turn on IP pass-through. So this does have the ability to pass on that public IP address that, or I should be careful not call it public necessarily depending on what the ISP is, but at least the IP address that the cellular provider provides to this gateway, they can pass that on and send it through Ethernet or through USB to one of your devices. So note that's not through Wi-Fi. It has to be a device that's physically connected to the unit. And then here, this is the DHCP routing table that you can have set up here. Alright, and then it can do some basic port filtering, and let's see, some basic port forwarding, I'm sure, where you can set that up here. And then last but not least, there is a Inseego Connect that you can turn on those cloud services if you're familiar with those, as far as using the Inseego Connect plan.
Alright, so I'm actually connected directly to my Verizon home internet cube, which uses the 5G C-band. And I'm just going to run a baseline speed test with that one to see where it is at, so I know, roughly what my speeds are. Now, it is capped basically at about 300 megabits per second down and 20 or 25 up, I believe. So you can see that it did get up there around 300, but then it kind of leveled off or down around 222. And it looks like my upload will be around this 20 to 25 that I was talking about before. Okay, so that's my baseline for Verizon Home Internet with a $50 a month plan. All right, so now I just connected to the Nomad Air, and we will run a test here and see what it does. All right, so there we go. So it looks like a very similar speed. In fact, the upload was certainly faster. So slightly slower download. That's within the noise, 214 versus 222. And then the upload on the Nomad Air was actually about 10 megabits per second faster than the Verizon Home Internet Cube. That's just one test, but at least on this test, it shows it's at least compatible, or comparable, should I say, to what I would get with another Verizon gateway. All right, so if you look up here on around the top, it has 4 out of 5 bars for Verizon 5G. It says I have, and then over here it shows that I'm on for general status. They're kind of in the middle. I'm on band B66 and N77. N77 is Verizon's 5G C band, so that's a great band to be on, and that's why I get good speeds here.
All right, so I've been able to test this out for over a week and really mess with it and see what I think about it after just the day one excitement of getting it in. And what I will say is this backpack I think is really well designed and packaged. It's padded bags to help protect the electronics on the inside. This little power button is the easiest thing to use. You click that on, and it takes 30 seconds or a minute for it to boot up, and then you have Wi-Fi active. You click it off, and then you're saving the battery power in there. So all that stuff works well, and like any cellular device, yes, you have to have a cell signal in order for it to work, but Verizon has good coverage, and so any place I get Verizon cell signal, this Inseego so far has been working, and it gives me fast speed. In fact, it's faster speeds than at least their website claims it should be. So I don't know if it's not like a hard throttle or whatnot, but for me, I'm getting similar speeds as I do on my Verizon home internet gateway. And for the bag itself, if we look at it from a cost standpoint, this travel kit's about $200, and that does not include the Nomad Air device. That Nomad Air device, as I said before, it's really a Inseego FX2000E, which is about $750 new if you were to go buy it by yourself. When you buy it from Nomad through one of their plans, it's $299, but obviously they don't have cancellation fees, but it's because you don't own that device. So you pay the $300, but that's really like a rental fee. And then if you cancel your plans, you have to send it back to them. But even so, you're $300 in for that Nomad Air plus $200 for this kit, so about $500. So it's still cheaper than buying the Inseego outright on your own. And the battery that they provide you, the one I have is non-solar powered, but they have a solar powered one too. And from what I can see, it's about $90 or something for that battery pack. And then you have some cables, these little adapter stuff, so that adds up a little bit. But you're still paying, $100 or something for the bag. But it's very convenient. It's well packaged together, and it does work. So I do like that about it. And in fact, that kind of holds true for everything I see. Their website's really well laid out, and their marketing material seems to be really good. But the only challenge I see with it is the price point of the monthly cost compared to what I think are some other options out there for cellular home internet. Means it's hard for me to justify the pricing on it. But besides that, the product is good and the product works, and I like their mentality and what they're trying to achieve. So that's my honest take. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing if you haven't yet.